welcome. I have Riv and Ash here from Health Phyx who have joined me today. I'm super excited to have them on and talk some shop, but they're currently in the pursuit of building a more than a physio clinic, which is definitely why I wanted to bring them on to kind of talk about the larger picture, the larger goal. But thanks for coming on, guys.
That's all right. Thanks for having us today.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
I ask all of my guests to kick off the episodes, and we'll do one by one. We'll start with Riv. What quote is serving you in this season of your life right now?
Ooh, it definitely have to be one of my mates came up with it, and shout out to Hannon for that. Is dumb enough to start, resilient enough to keep going, and smart enough to figure it out as I go.
I like that.
So I think that sums up life pretty well for the last 16, 18 months.
Yeah.
It's been a good one to live by.
No, I do like that. And Ash?
I guess whereas Rivers was related to business, mine was probably more so related to something more personal, and that is actually just not wanting is as good as having. And the reason why I like that one is because I think from just like a personal fulfillment level, it's like choosing what is actually truly aligned to you is really important. There's a lot of demands happening with the world, and just being able to block out all of that noise and just focus on what is meaningful to you is a good way to simplify life.
No, I like that. I feel like that's definitely deep. It's got some. I am even like replaying it in my head, going, "Hang on, what?" It's interesting. But Riv, you started. It wasn't always Health Phyx.
No,
You
no.
started.
It started
brand?
as the fix.
Yeah.
So, started as the fix in March 2024, where I went out by myself from a company and then called it the fix.
Yeah.
And then as Ash progressed into the business when he moved up here, we decided we wanted to take on the avenue of going more than just physiotherapy and taking on the health and wellness aspect of it. So we've migrated and brought in Ash's past business was the holistic health.
Yeah.
So we kind of migrated them both together and created the Health Phyx.
And what is, when you say like more than a physio clinic, what is that and what is it to you guys?
We didn't want to just be known for clinical physiotherapy.
Yeah.
You didn't want to just be, you're injured, go to the physio, do a couple of sessions, get fixed, go back to doing whatever you're doing. We wanted to explore more avenues in the health and wellness side of things. We wanted to have a bit more of a broader variety of services, variety of, make it feel less just clinical physio.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to create a space that was welcoming and elegant and a good experience from the moment you come in the door, where we could offer more than just your typical physio experience. And I think that's something that we've really tried to broaden and tried to bring into the space that we're now creating.
And that kind of comes from where we had the rebrand from the Fix Physio to the Health Fix. Because as we look long term and think the bigger picture, we want to go beyond just physio.
Yeah.
So if we were Fix Physio, that could be a little bit limiting. If we're the Health Fix, then we can actually start to expand across multiple disciplines. And we're in it for the long game. So we're thinking like physio, we're thinking we've already got osteo as a part of like our umbrella. We might be thinking dietitians, naturopaths, things like that in the future. So starting to,
pull in the holistic side of the allied health space. Down to even psychology and podiatry.
Yeah.
Something that you wouldn't typically see all in one location.
And
that's the grand vision.
Where would you say the inspiration came to do that?
I think that's probably just what the world demands these days. It's like rather than looking at health in isolation, I think you've got to look at it as though like this take this more broad approach in order to be effective. I think it's a little bit, like closed-minded just to think that health is just addressing one thing without addressing the full picture. So I just think that's the best approach to health.
Yeah, and then through my experience in the last 6 or so years working for other companies, like I always found that I'd work in a place that just solely offered physio, and I'd have multiple clients come through and be like, they're going to a psychologist here and a remedial therapist here and an osteo here and a physio here, and I always sat there and just thought like it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Why are we not tapping into having multiple professions
Yeah.
in the one location where people can go from one to the other, and all be a part of like a team. It's even with us with the osteo, like we could walk next door and talk to the osteo about a client, as long as you have their consent. But There's like you could walk next door and communicate with your team rather than, you know, being in completely separate parts of towns or cities even.
100%.
Yeah,
I've
so-
always questioned why health can't be easier. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like so much admin behind everything, right? You go to a doctor and then they send you one place for an x-ray and then you have to go back to the doctor to get a referral to go back somewhere else.
Yep.
It's just genuinely a
It's
headache.
often a very convoluted process, and for like the client slash patient, it's often an isolating process as
Yeah.
well. If you're just kind of being referred from one place to another, you feel like there's a lack of support. So I think ultimately, if you can have everything under the one roof, that's going to be a lot more cohesive. So that's kind of like the model that we're trying to adopt.
And bring it all in.
Mm.
And so obviously this year we found a new location. We're kind of building that. What sort of hiccups have you kind of come across in doing so?
I reckon we got very lucky, but I could see it being a hiccup for other people. Is in the Gold Coast in particular is location.
Yeah.
Like trying to find a space to actually be versatile for the needs of what we want. You know, like trying to find a warehouse space or at least a somewhat affordable location that offered enough room for us to build and enough room for us to expand into what we want, but not cost, you know, multitudes of money every month, and also not be in the middle of, you know, Mudgeeraba or
Yeah.
you know somewhere or Southport, you know, somewhere. We wanted to be central in the South Gold Coast because that's where a lot of our clientele are. So, you know, finding the location was definitely one of the main struggles.
Are you happy where you are? With the
Love it.
location?
Absolutely
Yeah.
stoked. Yeah,
Love
we're
it.
in Burleigh. I think that's like such a hub to be doing business.
Yeah.
On the Gold Coast. So a kind of a little background on that. I suppose. Yeah, River got the business started. Basically started in a gym, just operating in a room. It's a necessary stepping stone. I suppose you got to start somewhere. But it was just, like I said, a little bit makeshift, just renting a room from a gym. Then we thought, okay, in order to expand, we have to find a bigger space to allow us to kind of bring myself into the business, bring others into the business. So we were on the hunt for other places that we could grow into. We came across this one place in Burleigh, and the moment we arrived, we rocked up and we were like, damn,
Yeah.
this is sick. And probably what I relate it to is when people are in the hunt for like their first home, they go and inspect a few places, and then all of a sudden one of them is like, oh, this really like hits,
Just stands
yeah,
out.
pulls the heartstrings. You start
Yeah.
to envision your whole future, and you're just
Yeah.
like, this is it.
Yeah, start visioning it, and that was
got-
a really good part.
Yeah, so got a really special feeling with the place that we looked at.
Which is where you are now.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
but
that's pretty,
I mean, before we kind of spoil where this is going, yeah, had a very special feeling. So we put in an application, and then they said, "Oh, we've given it to someone else." I was like,
missed out.
God damn! And then everyone was just saying like, "Well, clearly it wasn't meant to be." And normally have a pretty
But you had a
Fine.
gut feeling.
yeah, normally have no difficulty with just accepting things as they are. But on this occasion, I was like, "But it was meant to be."
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was
Yeah,
meant to
yeah, it was
be.
meant
I
to
had
be
this
there.
special feeling. I envisioned my future there.
Yeah.
What do you mean they've given it to someone else? They've made the wrong decision. Anyway, they completely fumbled it, and about a few weeks later, they gave us a call saying, "Are you still interested?" And we said, "Fuck no, we are taking it."
Absolutely.
We looked at each other though, and we thought, "Do you know what this means?" Like, yes, we needed to take the next step, but we were going to be so stretched in terms of like taking the leave of what
Right. I
could-
was going to ask
could
that.
do.
Yeah.
And it
Was
was
it
a
in
very
budget
scary
or
leave.
it was out of budget?
Oh, well, I mean, we had to look at our numbers. I knew how River was saying, we're going to be okay, we're going to be okay. But the fact that he was having to say, we're going to be
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
made me think, well, River's thinking we're going to be anything but okay.
We knew at that stage that it would be a bit of a stretch,
Yeah.
but we knew we could make it work.
No risk, no reward, right?
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when we did take it on, we're like, all right, we have to go full David Goggins mode for like the next 6 to 12 months.
What did
We're
that
going to have
look like?
to
What
proper
is,
lock in here.
What is David Goggins
we've
mode?
slept on
Well,
the
the
floor.
David Goggins of Physio, I reckon
Yeah.
what that looks like is we're trading during the day, and then at night time, we just became tradies.
Yeah.
And we just didn't switch off. And I'm a pretty useless tradie. Luckily, Riv actually knows what he's doing, but I was just
That
rocking
shocks
up
me
at the
completely.
Yeah. Ash was the young kid that you yell at for holding the torch in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Yeah, that shocks me.
But
Yeah.
the stuff we were doing, like painting, we did like a bathroom reno, we put together some shelves. The interior design, I didn't know, where that came from. But
Yeah.
the fact that
Yeah.
I've got we've got like designing a Pilates studio and a yoga studio on our resume is still something that like surprises me a little bit. So we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, that wasn't something that we planned for this year, that's for sure. But it's surprising that a bunch of bash around Aussie blokes can do a somewhat decent
Pull
job of putting
something
together an
together.
aesthetic space.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there was nights there where we were working till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and then
pretty
back there
consistently too.
pretty consistently throughout the week, and then back there at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
Whether it was pulling apart the staircase and painting every single sleeper individually, sanding it all down and cleaning that up, and then, or if it was the amount of daylight robberies that Bunnings has done to us in the last
There's been a lot of
6
time at
months.
Bunnings. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
or-
now I am a tradie.
Yeah, or Ash's obsession with green plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, love my
so-
plants.
Yeah,
This place is missing something. Plants is the answer.
yeah,
pretty much one
Ash,
thing I've learned.
yeah,
But it adds to that like whole, I guess, the brand is part of the the business value and everything. And it's like you walk into the space and you feel a type of way.
It is now our style.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the nice things that is allowing us to be separate from like other physios is that the moment people do arrive is they actually do feel like, oh, this place is nice. Like if we have someone say, we hear quite often that this is not only the nicest physio clinic they've ever been, but someone even said that like, this is my favorite place to hang out. Like who has ever said that about a physio clinic?
I don't think anyone has ever wanted to hang out at a physio.
So that's what I
clinic.
mean. For a couple of knockabout blokes, we've actually done okay here. And we were prepared to be in this like David Goggins mindset for maybe about 6 to 12 months. I don't know, however long it'll take. But a pretty special moment was actually after about 3 months of being in the new space. We were looking at the accounts and then River said like, things are going pretty well here. Like I'm going to give you a little bonus. And I actually got emotional. Because I was like, I was so ready to just be so locked in for so long. And to think, I suppose, after a few months, that was like maybe the first sign that like, we could actually be pulling this off here already.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't really get emotional too often, but that
Yeah,
pulled
that
at my
one did it.
heartstrings.
Yeah,
And
that one
we had
did
a
it.
little moment. We had a big hug and we're like,
Yeah.
well done. And I think it's
Sat there.
important.
Sat there looking at the space and looking at what we'd done in a short amount of time. Yeah, we were both really happy with it and how it was going. So, yeah, and Ash has been, putting in monstrous hours over like 6 months with no complaints about it. And we're both there. Even something we said the other day, where like we don't even message each other on a Sunday, and for some reason we both turn up at the same time to clean or do extra jobs. But we just both know that we're going to do it without even having to ask.
Yeah.
And that's just become a bit of a routine where it's like, all right, we just turn up. So yeah, he's put in some monstrous work for it.
Yeah.
And it was really good to be able to sit there and actually share it with him and have this space growing into what it is and what it will be.
And when you both had your own like brands and your own businesses, did you feel sort of the same about them, or is there like a new feeling that comes with, I guess, this brand that you're building now?
Yeah, I think this brand is now ours.
Yeah.
Like it's gone from having the Phyx as mine and holistic health as Ash's to now Health Phyx is ours.
Yeah.
It's brought them both together and created something that we've both strived for.
Yeah.
And I've said it to Ash before, like I wouldn't picture doing business with pretty much anyone else. Like Ash and I work really well together in the fact that it's probably already going to show in this is Ash is very creative, more creative, more into design and aesthetic and those kind of things. I'm very
Visionary.
logistical.
Yeah.
I run numbers and I'm all about maths and logistics. So I play into the strength there. Ash plays into the strength of creativity, and I feel like if we had two business owners or two business partners that had the same strengths,
Yeah.
it would just clash.
It's a bit
That's
of a
like-
yin and yang
We make a
kind
very
Yeah.
good yin and yang.
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yep. So with good overlaps, it's been working really well.
How long
Uh,
have you guys known each other? Like, did you meet here?
God,
No, it's been a while.
Back in 2017.
Right.
9
Was-
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8-9 years ago now. Start of uni.
Mm.
From dressing up in togas.
Yeah, that would have been it. Hey,
Dressing up
Week,
latte.
O week,
O
uni.
week. That's
when
going
we
back
were
a
both
while.
Fresh 18, looking like children.
Yeah.
So we did uni together, and then
Was there chat of like business one day then, or it's just kind of
Definitely not. I don't think there was any kind of
no, I don't think between
big
us
picture
there was.
thinking until maybe the last probably year in
year
my
or
life
two.
where I actually started to mature. But maybe for River a little bit sooner.
I think during uni, I always had the idea that I set a goal in place where 5 years out of uni, I wanted to have my own practice.
Yeah.
And I set 5 years because I wanted to have enough experience under the belt that I could happily go out on my own and be comfortable to treat pretty much whatever walked in the door, or at least have enough experience in the industry to know my way through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd set that in uni, and then I think the business opened when I was just under 4 years out.
Yeah.
So without even really trying, I met that goal. And then Ash had to catch up a little bit. And, I'm an old soul. I'm pretty much 75 years old already. So Ash had to catch up a little bit. Yeah, and I look at my hairline agrees with you. So,
but that leads into like that dynamic, right? And like that yin and yang, and having those two pieces of the pie.
Yeah,
it's probably been interesting to see like how our brains work. I guess when we were putting the space together, like when we were looking at a room and thinking like, oh, this place is missing something. Riv would be like, yeah, we should put some hooks here, or we should build a shelf here. And like I was thinking, I guess plants or whatever.
Yeah,
that was all I had to offer. But
plants.
A couple other touches. But I do think overall, like if it was just some hooks and some shelves, it probably wouldn't be much. But equally, if it was just some plants, it wouldn't be much. So again, it takes this yin and yang.
Combination of
and
both.
Somehow it works. I guess between River, his quite analytical mind, and really the back of house stuff and getting that really sorted. But then also, I guess my touch might be the front of house stuff, I suppose. So ultimately it's been working quite well for us.
Yeah, except now I have to hire a greenskeeper or some type of nursery hand just to look after all the plants, because I have a track record of killing plants, which I'm shocked that we haven't.
Yeah, you've kept them alive, Ash.
No, there are babies, those things.
God.
The kind of the thriving of the business comes out of the thriving of those plants, I reckon. So
that's a lot of pressure. That's all on you, Riv.
Keep those things alive.
Damn. Well, I better get going.
Yeah.
So like now that we've kind of hit that moment where we're like, okay, we've actually got something happening here, and we're not so much David Goggins, like we need to swim to survive kind of mindset. What's the next stage? What's the next step? Like, where are we taking it?
Well, now we're in the stage where I'm quite excited, because I would say me and like my perhaps more creative minds, it's like shifting gears, I guess, like we said, from this David Goggins gear to thinking that like less is more a little bit, that what we do outside of the clinic is just as important as what we do in the clinic. So even if we're condensing our workload a little bit, so then we create a bit more time in our schedule to engage in the community. So then by actually getting out in the community, getting seen, creating opportunities, personally, that's where I feel like I'm starting to thrive. That's my favorite thing. And now that we're in this gear, I'm like, hell yeah, bring it on. I'm excited for what's ahead. Already I'm starting to feel just like, I'm coming back to feeling my best self. And it's essentially just doing things that we enjoy doing. But realizing that there's some things that we think are very productive that actually aren't quite as productive. And there's some things that we aren't as productive that we think are productive.
Yeah.
That was a bunch of word vomit.
That one.
Yeah, but we get you. What would you say?
You get the idea.
Yeah.
But if we're spending 12 hours in the clinic day in, day out, we will think that is very productive sort of thing. And if we're like out training, sort of having coffee with someone and so forth, we might think that's not so productive. But the amount of things that come from just getting out of the clinic and doing things that you enjoy, that's what I'm saying is like there's so much opportunity and magic that is created out of those moments.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. And that's something that we've been shifting that focus now to, instead of just pumping out 13, 14 hour days in the clinic, whether it's treating and then admin work or building stuff or things like that. Like now we've gone, okay, we don't have to do that anymore. Like let's shorten those hours down and, get out into the gyms and go to the classes and get out into the boxing gyms and events. Like we've been packed with events for the last month and the next month coming as well, which has been great. Like it's all still work, but it's it's also more enjoyable, something different, and and it's just as productive for us than if being locked in the clinic all day,
if not more. I think there's like a huge disparity between the business owners that work so many hours in the business, and you're like earning money and the money's coming through. But then the business owners that have the vision of going like, this is going to be bigger than me, and to be bigger than me, it's like, I need to get out there, especially you guys, you are a local based community business. Like you don't have the online reach as of yet. So it's like, how do we put our fingers into all these pies and build this community? And you almost have to sacrifice today for tomorrow's betterment. It's like, I need to kind of give up some time and some profits straight away to then
benefit in the long run.
Have that extra long run.
So like even recently, you know, we've gone from High Rocks, Sydney. I flew down to High Rocks to work on a couple of people. On the same weekend, Ash was at Chindra Kingscliff doing a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar. The next weekend we had Strap In for the Narang Bulls, and Ash was at the Gym Burley doing their opening day. You know, in 2 weekends in time, we're back on the footy fields again, doing all that again. We've been involved with, you know, the SAS Footy Academy. God, what else has there been recently?
There's been a few things, which is good.
International OzTag tournament in 3 weeks' time that we'll be travelling down to Coffs Harbour to work for. So both of us will be travelling down for 4 days to go and do that. So yeah, we've definitely the last kind of 2 months has shifted from that focus of just, you know, pedal to the metal every day in the clinic to then, you know, actually dispersing out and going into more of the clinic-based, the community-based stuff.
Yeah, and that's still work, but I guess a different type of work.
Different type.
But yeah, I guess also ultimately creating space outside of work as well, probably for that bigger picture thinking as well. Like, as we spoke about, if you're just forever treating, yes, that's bringing you in good revenue, but it's also the very thing that's getting in the way of like that next step.
Yeah. I think I treated a successful business owner the other week, and he said something that he took 20 years in business to realize, and it was, as long as you are working in the business, you can't step out and work on the business. You know, as long as you're running it from inside the same four walls, you can't step outside and look at it from above and start building it from outside the business. And that's a direction that, you know, I reckon in the next 6 to 12 months that we'll definitely try and take, where we actually pull ourselves away from the clinic as much and start running it from, you know, above, you know, running it from outside the four walls.
And to think what got us here in the first place was actually stepping away for a moment, and I guess conceiving this idea as to what we wanted to create with the business model, rather than being just like another physio clinic. Obviously, we're physios, we fall under that category, but we're also doing things very different to the rest of the physios. I guess as we spoke about, like the when people first arrive in terms of creating a nice space, that's probably one of the first things. Another thing I'm quite critical of as the physio industry as a whole is, I think, like, overall it's adopted a bit of a model that I feel is quite stale, very outdated. A lot of people complain, saying like they go to a physio and all they really receive is just a bit of a lecture on their health. It's like, well, did I really want to go see a physio just to receive a lecture kind of thing that I probably could have received from ChatGPT? And I also think it's like, as technology becomes more and more advanced, one thing that it can't replicate is human touch and connection. So it actually surprised me that physios are going away from that. We actually decide, okay, we're going to go back into that. So it's like, yes, education is a vital component for the overall picture, but one of our values is being like knowledge for the hands, so being really good with manual therapy, so the hands-on stuff, and then also having the space to go through the exercise by having a gym and being able to practice what we preach. It's not good enough just to talk about it, you then got to practice it. And I think overall, like, that is probably what defines our model, is having this whole space. So when thinking about what we wanted to do within the physio space, like, okay, that's our model, we need to have that space to allow for that.
How important is going to be, like, obviously the idea of scaling and then you guys stepping out is to have more people come into the business, and, like, you know, you need people working in the business. How important is, like, recruiting someone that has this kind of mindset?
Make or break.
Well, here's an interesting one. So I'm probably interjecting a little bit too much.
That's new.
Wouldn't read about it.
Yeah. But
go on.
Well, saying that we hear a lot, and we know this because we've been through this ourselves. When we start working for another business and practice, whatever, it's kind of like, okay, you've got your personal ambitions, sick, they can go die. You now work for us, and you've got to conform to this model. So if people are turning up every single day thinking like, all of my ideas, like, they're not really being heard, like, you start to not feel valued. You think like, well, if I don't feel valued, like, I don't really feel very motivated coming into work. I don't feel like morale is high. And that energy seeps through the whole business. So one thing that we are trying to adapt, we will, as we build a team, is if people have their own personal ambitions going on, if we're going to think, great, how can we
Especially
bring that
support them.
in
Yeah.
and support it
Yeah.
and facilitate you to reach those? Because ultimately, that is now more service that we have to offer. That's just more value we have to offer. People feel valued when they come to work. That energy is going to basically transpire throughout the whole business. Like the morale's higher, we're sort of operate at a higher level, clients enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that is going to be a really big thing that, again, separates us compared to other practices.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, well, I think a friend of ours made a good point where if you hire fast, you'll fire fast.
Mm.
Like, so making sure that they fit the team, but then also playing into making sure that personal ambitions and things like that
Yeah.
are going to be recognised and supported, and exactly what Ash just said as well with those factors. Like, that's a very important part for us.
I think it's very normal that like businesses usually do definitely like hire fast, and then traditionally like they fire too slow, and they like hold on to that piece that just doesn't really align. But I feel like what you're building is like so much more than just procedure, right? Like there's like an energy about the place, and it's like they really need to align in that energy level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's we're really trying to go different when it comes to just the team building in a place like a physio clinic. We don't just want it to be an employee-employer relationship. Like, we don't just want to have a team that rock in at 9 and go home at 5 and stuff like that, and don't enjoy working in the day.
Yeah.
Like, even once we get a bigger team, I want to start doing 3 o'clock knockoffs where we go down to El Ranchero and enjoy a beer or something like that. Just something fun and something different to do. And we could get into how the business structure actually benefits that, but it's like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that, but our structure actually offers a lot of benefit to that
100%.
too. For people to come in with their own ideas and to come in with their own ambitions, it will actually benefit them to have that.
One thing that surprises me, I guess, when people have the opportunity to shape their culture and like their work environment, is why people would choose to make it boring. Again, like physio industry, very stale, very boring. And it's like, well, why do you choose to do that?
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to shape the energy in where you're turning up every single day and when you're spending so much of your life, why would you make a decision and make it so boring? It's more than anything, it's like, all right, well, if we're spending so much time here, how do we make it fun? Yeah,
There's
it's
no
just for our
rules
sake
to
more than
business,
anything.
yeah.
And I'm surprised how rare that mindset is.
Yeah.
What we've been described as being professional but informal. And I think that's quite a nice compliment. It's a nice balance, actually.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like there's other competitors like in the space that are doing something similar, or you just feel like you are on this velocity and tangent?
Yeah, well, this is a cool one. This is going to sound somewhat arrogant. But I remember when we're having a meeting with our business mentor, and they said, like, I'd like you to do some research into your competitors. And my response was, well, we don't have a competition because we are doing like our own style here. We're not looking at what others are doing and replicating that old model. We're kind of being innovative and leading our own way. So if we were to have competition, it's kind of like they're forever in our wake because we're just focused on our goal. So that's my kind of outlook towards competition.
Yeah, and I think feeding onto that, that's Ash's one, and mine is I simply just don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
that's cool.
If I'm focused on competition, then I'm not focused on what we're doing and how we're going. And it's like, and I'd rather, if you focus on the competition or you focus on even competitors or things like that, I feel like you either fall in love with winning or you'll hate losing. And my belief in that is, why don't you just love playing? Like, why don't you just like doing what you're doing? If you're constantly trying to, compare yourself to winning or losing, you're never going to enjoy the process of just doing what you're doing.
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey. Enjoy playing the game. And I think that's a big thing for business owners in general. Is just if you love playing, you'll never lose.
Yeah, agree.
Mm.
Would you say that you guys have balance, like in the outside of your lives, around David Goggins, around business,
I can
around?
see Ash looking at me from here.
Oh no! What is balance?
My missus might have a different answer to that.
Yeah.
I like to think so, but at times no. Like I think sacrificing again, in the wise words of Hormozy, I think sacrificing a season for the rest of the book is a pretty worthwhile sacrifice. I think feeding into the part of the conversation before where we're able to now take the foot off the gas a little bit has brought a little bit more balance back. You know, we've been able to go away a little bit. We've been able to do some more fun stuff. You know, so I think there's better balance, but it's taken a lot of learning and a lot of getting used to that to get back into that.
Yeah.
My missus might have a completely different answer.
Is it hard balancing a relationship?
Yes.
Not when it's the right person. Ash will have a different answer, but not when it's the right person. I think, you know, if you are really, you know, building a business and on that journey, I feel like one of the most important things in that is having a strong supportive partner behind you, because they're just going to amplify your winning. Not, you know, then it's not a burden or anything like that. It's like I couldn't do what I've done with Ash in the last 12 months if it wasn't for Shanae being in the background. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for all the work that she's done. So I think, you know, having someone strong and supportive that pushes you every single day is actually the source of success.
Do you feel like sometimes you have guilt around what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's definitely days where like I will put so much towards work, or, you know, like I'll go to work early and I'll get home late and, you know, she's cooked dinner or cleaned the house or, you know, meal prepped or done washing or just something to make my life easier. And I feel like sometimes that there's definitely days where I feel like I'm not doing enough to what she deserves.
Yeah.
So, but then vice versa, also like the fact that by her doing that, I can work harder, and then if I can work harder, I can provide for her more.
Agree.
You know, so that brings a bit of
it's that book that you're writing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're filling out the pages right now, so it's important.
It's definitely a juggling act. Like, you know, we've had to become circus freaks at trying to juggle life, but, you know, if someone is wholeheartedly on your team and supports you, then, you know, we make it work. So, but it's a hard one. It's never easy. But with or without a business, it's
communication.
Never easy. Yeah, which is something we've had to learn.
Yeah,
something we've had to learn. But yeah.
And when you say, obviously, like you're putting in that season right now, in the words of Hormozy, you're putting in that season, but like, what does that look like? What's that out of that season kind of moment where you're like, okay, now it's time to really step in and sort of foster the relationship, and that's the season. Have you thought about that?
Not too much. Like, I seem to think about one chapter at a time.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that, you know, if you put in the hard yards now, it pays off later.
Yeah.
And once you reach that kind of stage where you can take a bit of a step back, you know, you've got money coming through the door, you've got a business that's growing in reputation, you've got a strong supportive team that you can, you know, you trust and you work well with, like, then you can kind of take that bit of a step back, and that's when, you know, the next chapter of life then starts. And how long that season lasts depends on how good you are at your job, really.
Agree. Ash, balance?
Well, certainly the last 3-4 months, there hasn't been much balance at all, as we've spoken about. But yeah, I think the slightly change of direction moving forward, we'll look to integrate a bit more balance moving forward. Obviously, we still have to be keeping the foot on the throttle pretty heavily. But I think for me, like, just creating smaller moments of downtime is actually really important. So kind of being quite self-aware of how I operate my best. And if I'm just forever in this kind of robotic mode, then I don't operate as my best self. One of the things that I really enjoy doing in summer when it's a bit warmer is, like, pretty much weekly going out to the waterfalls. And people are like, what are you getting up to out there, man? But it's just a nice little switch off, a bit of downtime. And actually, when I look at some of the most successful people in business, they often have a good... don't know about waterfalls, but a good meditative practice. And for me, that's exactly what that is, going out there. Just, yeah, a little switch off moment. I think, again, like, the world, it demands a lot. It demands a lot of your time and your energy, and of course we have, like, very finite resources with how much we can give out. So I think creating a bit of time and space for those moments just to recharge is then what allows me to then operate as my best self. So that's always something that it's very important to me. So yeah, balance is an important value of mine.
Just trying to find it is like...
It has been a challenge of recent times, but yeah, just, incorporating some of these smaller areas is sometimes all it takes. Even getting up in the morning and having a coffee and just being present with that coffee for 30 minutes kind of thing, that will then set me up for the day, as opposed to just get up and we're just straight into it and we don't stop until we come back. Like, just a little moment is often all that it takes. So
yeah, Ash is definitely better at that than me. I'm about as useful as a tits on a bull when it comes to finding balance. So yeah, he does well with that.
Do you have like a routine yourself that like
Yeah,
your non-negotiables?
I've been working on building non-negotiables back in. Can't talk.
Yeah.
I find like I do strive off routine.
Yeah.
So the same process every day definitely helps me. I find my most important time is definitely the morning. Yeah. Like if I start the morning right, the rest of the day will flow well. So whether it's one of my favourite things to do is get up and take a coffee outside onto the back deck and sit on the chairs out the back in the sunrise. So that's one of my most enjoyable things to do.
When was the last time you did that?
This morning.
Good. I'm glad that was the answer.
Yeah. So did that.
Shocked us all.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to get you with that one.
No, this morning did that. Gym is definitely a part of it. Like some type of training or activity. I typically need to do something like that each day. It has been a bit of a back burner on weightlifting as much as what I'd probably love to, but priorities shift and demands shift, so that's fine. But yeah, definitely a bit of a morning routine. Get up, coffee, whether it's a coffee on the back deck or a coffee down at the beach, and then breakfast and then work is a pretty typical morning routine.
And I think one of the things we do have to balance as well is, yes, we're pretty much in our first year of business, and that requires a lot of our energy, but we're also in the health and wellness industry as well. And I think it's important to be ambassadors for that. We kind of have to set a pretty high standard. If we're not doing that ourselves, then how can we expect anybody to be listening to our advice? Yeah. So no matter how busy that we get, like still practicing these things are going to be holding us in good stead. Yeah. Like it's what makes us credible. Yeah. If we start not practicing what we preach, then
where does our credibility go? And that's something I even said to a client yesterday was, I will never prescribe an exercise I haven't done, trialed or tested on myself.
Because of that, I'm doing some pretty funky exercises.
Yeah, Ash is there sitting there with a band around his head looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, but he's trialing them out.
He's trying.
He's trying and he's seeing, how they actually work. And I find that clients really respond to that. We don't look like typical physios, by any means. So, having that trust and that validity and credibility with our clients to go, well, if he's done them, knows how they feel, knows what they do, and he's given them to me.
Goes back to that, like that sort of piece where even you were just saying, Riv, like it's about different priorities, but really your health should be a priority because, even you injecting yourself into the community, it's like you catch yourself thinking, I feel a bit guilty for this because it feels fun, or I feel guilty for this because I'm enjoying this workout. But both of those things are crucial really to like growing this business to be bigger than the old physio traditional sense.
Yep. Yeah, like one of the big things is turning up to a physio that looks like they probably do what they're telling you to do.
A few push-ups, yeah.
Yeah, they look like they probably do a couple of push-ups.
Yeah.
It's like, well, my only push-up is trying to get off the floor in the morning.
It adds to the whole energy of the place, right? Like you want people to feel welcomed. It's like appearance does matter. There's like that halo bias of just like a customer walks in like, I actually like this place. Like I like these people. They're cool. They look good. The place looks good. I feel good here.
Yeah, we try to be relatable, even though I look like I should be kicked out of the PAV every weekend. But like, we try to be nice and friendly and relatable, and build that connection with clients as they walk in. And not many physios have the back of their head tattooed.
Yeah, and on that note of being relatable, I had this conversation with another health professional, and they were saying like, sometimes it wears you down being in like this really professional mode. And maybe on the weekend it's like, it feels nice just to feel myself. And I actually thought, well, we don't necessarily need to be in this very rigid, strict sort of version of ourselves in that setting. I think a part of what makes us relatable is by being that little bit less formal, and that's what allows us to connect with people.
Yeah.
Just having real conversations. We're not just always rocking our physio hat in there. And I think actually, even though we're physios, like at least 50% of our role is how we connect with people, how we engage with people, how we make people feel. 50% will be physio, 50% will just be how we make them feel in that in the time that we have them.
Yeah.
So,
like, it definitely doesn't go from, weekday physio river to weekend non-physio river. Like, it doesn't kind of change. So, I feel like between us, we never get exhausted from having to put on, a different show for who comes in, from weekday to weekend. Like, we're just us.
Yeah. Go back to being yourself and you'll find the tribe. Like, people will either relate or they don't. If they don't, out the door. It's really kind of what you're building. I can feel that.
Yep.
Would you say that your identities have shifted since becoming, like, business owner?
No, I'm still a pest.
Yeah.
Still a pest. I feel like I matured a lot in the sense of just doing life better. Like, I think that's definitely changed, but I don't feel as a whole like we've changed all that much in terms of we're still just a bunch of big kids who got given a bank card one day. Like, we haven't really changed personally. No, I think Ash might have a different outlook on that.
I've got a very different take on it.
I'm not saying anything about that, but I feel like me myself, personally, still the same.
Yeah.
Still more than happy to have a laugh with clients and say probably some outrageous stuff every now and then. But I just feel like probably doing life a bit better or
learning,
learning and growing would be the growing into. I wouldn't even say a business owner, but just growing into probably a bit more adult. I still can't believe Bunnings let me buy his power tool unsupervised. So like.
Well, I was going to say there's like that, like you said, you're an old soul, right? And I feel like sometimes when you are that old soul, it's like this was kind of always going to be an embodiment for you, was sort of being in this type of role.
Yeah, I've been retired since 18.
Yeah.
I think River has probably been this mould for quite some time, whereas me, I've probably grown into this role a little bit. I think
I could definitely support that Ash is a better one for that question because he's changed more than me.
Quite significantly. But one of the things I love most about business is that it does challenge you in so many facets of life and it forces you to level up in all of these different areas. So I kind of think like, yes, it's a responsibility, but also I think just naturally when you are challenged in so many different areas, you think I'm leveling up in every possible way. I think that's also the most fulfilling thing about business as well. It's not necessarily what you attain and sort of reaching a destination. It's actually who you become. And I think that is the most fulfilling thing. It's like, I'm feeling like I'm a far better person than who I was 12 months ago. And when you actually measure that change, you're like, oh, this is actually pretty sick.
That I can definitely support.
Yeah,
that I can definitely support. Like not only just, obviously financial growth, but, physical growth, emotional growth, mental growth, improvements in resilience, problem solving, communication. I would say that since opening the business, my life outside of business is exponentially better. Exponentially better. Even with the extra stress and things like that, I just find that just every other aspect of life has improved or changed.
What do you think was the catalyst for that?
Having purpose.
Yeah.
I think a man without purpose is a dangerous man, and I think once you find that purpose and you know what you need to do and you're driven to that, then every other aspect of life starts to improve. And
that's good.
Comparing that to when I worked for other people, 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago down in Victoria, I was not the same person as what I am now.
Yeah.
It's because I probably went to work every day with no purpose.
Yeah. Purpose and being intentional. It's key, isn't it?
Intention.
So, the perhaps catalyst for change for me arrived when I was having a bit of a bender in Europe.
His catalyst was River on behind of him, just smacking him up the back of the head. So
I'd been to Amsterdam, having a good time, being up to no good, and then then went into Belgium and was decided for a day I was just going to do like some journaling and sit under a tree for a few hours as to like what I wanted to be and also what I wanted to do when I got back. And that was probably the time where I started to be a bit more purposeful and intentional with my time. So yeah, much to River's point, it's like once you start creating purpose for yourself, I feel like, yeah, that's really
What
important.
in that moment, like, what were you journaling? What did you want to become? Like, what was that embodiment?
Well, I think a lot of where I am today was actually initially conceived almost in that moment, oddly enough. Yeah, like I said, kind of uh, thinking about who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do when I got back home. I guess a part of that was thinking like, okay, it's time to start living up to my potential here. So that being, I guess, having my own physio practice, and then I moved up to the Gold Coast. River had already gotten started. He said, "Well, if you've already got this game plan, why don't we bring this together?" And I guess that was what allowed us to be here. So yeah.
Did you at first have doubts, Riv? Like, I guess knowing knowing Ash and knowing like that was sort of where he was coming from. I'm curious.
Surprisingly not. No,
Yeah.
I've
You could
yeah,
see it.
as I said, I've known Ash for like 8 or 9 years now, and I've known every antic and every problem he's ever
Every
gotten
version.
himself into, every version of Ash that he's ever been. And honestly, no, because I can wholeheartedly trust him.
Yeah.
And as I said a little bit earlier, he's the only person I would actually consider being in business with.
Yeah.
And that was something I even said to my partner at the time before Ash came on.
Wow.
I
That's
said
cool.
that I it was when Ash was thinking about moving up here, and I was like, I want Ash to move up here because I wouldn't actually mind him bringing. I would bring Ash into the business. It'd be the only person that I probably would, because I know that we're that little bit different.
Yeah,
But I
I was
also
gonna
know
say.
that we've already got 8 years of history and friendship behind us to
Yeah.
know that we could pull it off.
I think you've done quite well to probably like harness harness my energy from being perhaps a bit of a wild card at times. But yeah, it is a pretty cool thing to go into business with someone that you have a long history with, because how important your business partner is cannot be discounted at all.
No.
Like
God, no.
River and I, we're going to be spending a lot more time together than what we will with our, well, in my case, future partner, your partner,
Oh yeah,
making
I may as
many
well have married
big
Ash.
decisions, big financial decisions.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess the fact that we've got that history, we haven't clashed on anything. Even when we have our differences, we know how to complement each other. And yeah, we get along like a house on fire. So it's it's pretty cool, I guess,
Yeah.
how it's come about.
It's a good feeling. It's a
It's
good
that
feeling.
good balance.
Yeah.
Are there times where you guys have had doubt about like even just the physio career path and you thought like, is this for me? Is this what I want to be doing?
It's a good one. I feel like I have in the past, like when I first started the profession,
Yeah.
I did. Like I came out of uni a bit underwhelmed with how it was.
Were you working like in a traditional kind of
Yeah, I was
environment?
working in a traditional environment, doing
Yeah.
exactly what 99% of physios
What
do.
everyone else is experiencing.
Yeah, what everyone else is kind of experiencing, and it was very underwhelming. Like
Yeah.
worked with a fantastic team. Had a great boss, great clinic. Had an awesome team of like 13 very experienced physios. So I learnt a lot, but still just wasn't kind of ticking that box of I could do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It was
There's no fire in the belly.
it was. Oh, I've got to turn up to work at 8:45 in the morning, and I've got to treat 20 people today, and and I love helping people. Like, that's the most rewarding part of the job. But it was very underwhelming. And even you go through 4 or 5 years of a pretty difficult degree to come out to a new grad salary of not that great. So I was like, well, I could have just not done the degree and done a trade and worked outside, or done NDIS support.
You started
or
looking at
content
other.
creation. I could have gone to the military. Like there was a fair few times actually when life threw me a few spanners, and I was like, stuff it, I'm going to the military. Shave my head, give me a gun, I'm good to go. But I stuck with it.
Yeah.
And I think one of probably the best things since one moving to the Gold Coast, but two starting Health Phyx is I haven't had that thought. Like I haven't sat there one day and gone, I couldn't do this for the rest of my life.
Mm.
You know, I could. So that was good, but
That
definitely
fire
prior.
has never been burning more
Yeah.
wildly than right now.
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Yep. And I know for a fact Ash has had doubts because he took a bit of a
I took quite the
liaise
hiatus.
quite a hiatus from the profession.
Yeah, well, I guess similar to you, it's like, yeah, you do your degree, start working, actually find it a little bit underwhelming. I think that's something that a lot of physios can relate to.
Yeah.
Probably kind of, I guess, similar for similar reasons to what I was explaining earlier about like when you're just turning up each day, you don't necessarily feel valued. And that perhaps just eats away at you
Yeah.
a little bit. And at that point, I'd gone straight from high school to uni. I felt like I just hadn't had enough opportunity or time to myself, opportunity to develop like understanding of myself, develop an understanding of the world. So I guess for a couple of years there, that was just the emphasis for me. Was working, but probably more the focus was just like traveling, figuring myself out more so. And yeah, maybe a bit more of a convoluted path than River, but that has now allowed me to come back. It's like, all right, I've got this like really, after maybe exploring a few things, like got this really solid vision, I guess now, which is now really cool.
Yeah. What would you say, like, if there are other people kind of in that position, no matter what, like, profession, but it's like they're lacking that drive? How do you guys kind of like connect, and how do you find it?
I think it's a good question. It's a hard question because it's
Yeah.
really up to the person as well.
Okay.
You know, figuring out what maybe drives them. You know, what do they love about the job? What do they want to make from the job? Is probably a big thing. If Ash has any answers for that, I can have a think. But
Yeah, but what was your question exactly again? If you're a physio
Well,
if
no,
and
but
you're
like,
lacking drive,
any profession lacking
so it's just any
drive.
person that's lacking drive.
just like lacking the drive, they've, it's they're underwhelmed by where they've kind of ended up. You guys spent a lot of time studying,
Yeah.
and to then be
well-
underwhelmed by the answer.
I would say ultimately is take time to develop an understanding of yourself and develop an understanding of the world.
Yeah.
I think that is absolutely vital.
I think understanding your purpose, that like your purpose and your intention, go and understand yourself and
Yep.
understand what you want to do.
Yeah.
Do you want to own a business? Are you happy working for someone else? Is
Yeah.
there a certain aspect of your career that you want to excel in? What do you want to do with it? Why'd you do it in the first place? If you understand those and you understand yourself and what you want to achieve, then you can then set the path to actually start achieving that, which
Yeah.
will create that that little bit more value in where you want to go.
And I would also think like, okay, acknowledge that actually most people don't really have it figured out. So be kind to yourself there. I think like early on, especially in your 20s, you are still trying to figure things out a lot. So just try to say yes to a lot of different opportunities.
Absolutely. Say
And
yes.
you'll look back and think like, well, some of those were really good. Some of those are a little bit regrettable. But like once you start, you have like a good accumulation of different experiences and you start to approach your 30s, then I think you have like this, really broad set of experiences. Now you can tie it all together and you can kind of think like everything that I've actually done previously has served a purpose and is now incredibly meaningful for what I'm doing today, especially when a lot of today is about building a personal brand.
Mm.
So any kind of business pursuit that you're doing, you've got to kind of match it in with your personality. And if you've been just like a little bit sheltered, well, that's not going to serve you so well. I think like if you've trialed a lot of different things, well, then once you find what it is that you're going to do, and you've got all these prior experiences that you can build on, I think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. So like, say yes to things,
Yeah,
and if you don't have it figured out,
that's
it's
okay.
perfectly fine.
Keep trying.
I think
Keep
there's a
trying.
huge piece as well. Like, there are no rules. Like, okay, you
No.
finish uni, you don't have to go work. You find the physio, like the traditional physio environment, boring. Create your own.
Create
Like,
your own.
do your own.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Get
Create your
out
own.
there and do
your own.
something
Do
about it.
something else for a while. Go and discover what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come back to it if you want to. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no correct path.
Yeah.
It's just do what you want, and know that it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that probably is demonstrated by the path that River and I have taken. like River was like stuck with physio.
I was very more conventional, yeah.
Like motivation certainly waned, but you're still stuck with it ultimately. And
Yeah.
then I kind of took like this different path as well. We
Yeah.
kind of both ended up at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you
Both.
said, there's no rules. It's
Yeah.
yeah, like another analogy for that. I remember like in tennis terms, like you had Nadal, you had Federer, you had Djokovic all playing at the same time, and they're all kind of considered like the goats of tennis. But each of them had a very different style. So how could they be considered like the best ever? But you had like totally
Such
different
differences.
styles. It's like it's what works for you
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You know, you can both end up in the same spot. You can all end up in the same spot. It doesn't matter what route you take.
Yeah.
You'll end up there eventually. And you know, I definitely went the more conventional path, but I also had the intention that I knew, you know, that I wanted to own a clinic. I knew that I wanted to set that up, and I knew what I had to do to be confident enough to do that.
Yeah.
And so, and then Ash had the less conventional path, which allowed him to grow and experience more. And then, you know, we still ended up meeting in the same spot,
And bringing it together.
bringing it together
Two
with
halves.
different strengths and different purposes
Agreed.
and different ideas.
I don't think it would be what it is like without, honestly, like this balance.
No.
Right? It's neither here or there. It's like this perfect balance of conventional meets unconventional, and that's kind of the clinic that you guys are
And
creating.
if that is not the description of the clinic,
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
Yeah, and it might be like a cool thing for listeners ultimately as well, that there's not just like this clear path
Agreed.
forward.
Nah.
It's kind of, yeah, like you said, no rules. So
The rules exist. And success. What does success look like to you, Riv?
All right, I reckon I don't measure success. Obviously, everyone thinks of success as finance.
Yeah.
You know, and I think finance has a good, you know, a very strong part in success.
It's the default.
But I think success to me is being able to provide for your family and friends, like being able to give opportunity and give, you know, give to your close family and friends. You know, if I can provide for them and give them the life they deserve with no and reduce the
No
hassle on
boundaries.
them and increase, you know, remove the boundaries on them, like that's success for me.
Ash?
let's think here. I think you can't be successful unless you love what you do. So I think just loving what you do every single day is ultimately what success is. At the end of the day, you don't really own anything but just moments in time that turn into memories. When you look back, it's how you enjoy those memories. So yeah, that's success to me.
I reckon I just want to be able to create memories with family and friends.
Yeah.
That's couldn't care what figure there is on that. Couldn't compare, you know. But creating experiences and memories with
Moments.
family and friends and moments that you actually take with you. Because at the end of the day, money comes and goes, businesses come and go. Like it's friends and family that'll be with you all the way through, and memories that'll be with you all the way through.
That's cool.
Mm.
Well, thanks, guys. We'll wrap it up because I know you got to go, but
Kind of
appreciate
busy boys.
busy boys. So thank you for taking the time and jumping on. It was good. That went really quick.
Thank you for having us, and I've tried really hard not to swing on the chairs.
You're swinging
really,
right now.
Yeah,
really hard.
But now we can.
Yeah. Now I can.
Now you guys could be swingers. That's fine.
Literally, you put me in front of a camera where my feet don't touch the ground.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Let's go. Swingers party. We're on.